Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. Today we're going to be talking again about the nightmare that is Oregon's Measure 114, which basically eliminates the Second Amendment in Oregon. It does a lot. It creates a lot of new laws, new rules, new regulations, but just like California, there's not even the infrastructure in place yet to actually support it. So what does that mean for people's rights in that state while Oregon tries to figure everything out? Well, today I have the dates for you of when this is actually set to start, what problems are going to arise from it, and what you can expect. So stay tuned if you want to know a little bit more. This video is sponsored by Acre Gold, which in my opinion is the best way to get into gold. This is how I got into gold, because we all know that gold is very expensive. So the upfront cost to get into gold can be quite a bit. Acre Gold lets you buy gold incrementally. Acre Gold has 4 different subscription plans: a new $30 plan for a 1-gram bar, a $50 plan, a $100 plan, and a $250 plan for a 10-gram bar. When your gold stash adds up, so each month that you pay for your subscription, it adds up. Once you get enough money for a 2.5 gram bar on the $50 plan, they ship you out a physical 2.5 gram bar of gold. Now, they also have that $100 subscription plan, which gets you into a 5 gram gold bar. Now, if you don't feel like storing gold on site is an option for you, Acre Gold also has a way to buy digital gold so that they'll keep the gold safe for you. And I suggest that you go over to their website, which I'm going to link down below, and check it out for yourself and figure out which one is going to be the best option for you. So start your investment in your future today and click that link to Acre Gold below. Okay, so let's go and start off with the basics of what Measure 114 actually does, and then we'll talk about the dates of when this is all going to take effect and what to expect after that. So basically what Measure 114 does is it establishes a process that you would have to go through in order to obtain a permit to purchase a firearm. Now, it's a pretty lengthy and expensive process. This is something that you're going to have to pay for yourself. In order to begin the process, there's going to be a lengthy background check that is also going to be checking on your character. Now, this background check, in order to get that done, you're going to need your fingerprints, you're going to need your ID, you're going to have to fill out paperwork with all your information on it and so forth. Now, once you have that, you're actually going to have to undergo range training. So there's going to be a safety training course that you must complete prior to this process being finished. On top of that, there's going to be a written test that must be passed prior to the application process again being finished. Once all of that is said and done and it goes through its process where government officials will take a look at everything to see if everything is right, then your sheriff, your local sheriff, will determine whether or not to approve or deny a permit. They're going to be the ones that are actually going to be issuing said permits. Now, on top of that, there's also a magazine capacity ban, meaning that they're no longer going to be able to sell in Oregon, purchase or transfer or manufacture magazines that can hold more than 10 rounds. So that's just the basics of what Measure 114 does. Now let's go ahead and talk about some dates here, because that's where a lot of people seem to be confused. Everything that I looked up and all my sources say that this isn't even certified yet, that this measure will actually be certified on December 15th, which means that it will take effect 30 days after that on January 15th. So it looks like it's going to take effect on January 15th. Now, here's the problem. Like I said before, there's not even any infrastructure for this yet. So the permitting process has not even been established in its full means, which means the sheriffs don't know what they're supposed to do. They don't have the people to take care of it. They do not have anything set up so that this can go over smoothly. Now, it shouldn't go over at all. It's completely unconstitutional, but that doesn't matter. What's happening here is that without the infrastructure and without the process completed so that people can obtain a permit, it means after this law takes effect, people are going to be in limbo, because the stores themselves are not going to be able to sell anything to anybody unless they provide them with a permit that that person is still not able to get. So if you don't have the permit and the store can't sell you anything without the permit, then you're basically going to be without your rights at that point. Now, it is said that a lot of sheriffs are expecting to ask for an extension of that date on January 15th in order to simply get ready, but we don't know how long that extension will be. We don't know whether the extension will be granted, and we don't even know whether or not, even after that extension has been finished, whether or not the infrastructure and the processes and everything that are needed to get this off the ground are even going to be there. So we don't know the full length of time that people might be without their rights in the state of Oregon. Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about the Magban, which is another important aspect of Measure 114. So this Magban is going to have some unintended consequences, or maybe they are intended consequences, I don't know. But being somebody from California, I can tell you that it's going to end up being a much broader problem than what people are giving it credit for. And I haven't seen anybody talk about this specific aspect of that Magban yet. So we all know about the 10-round arbitrary number, right? But it's going to have an effect on things other than just magazines. Also going to have an effect on things that accept those magazines. The problem is that there's a lot of things out there where the standard capacity is going to be more than 10 rounds. If there is not a compatible magazine for that can hold 10 rounds or less, then that alone will not be able to be brought into the state. It won't be able to be imported. It won't be able to be sold. So if you're looking for something out there and you notice that, hey, maybe it has, 12 rounds or 14 rounds, or, the standard capacity is 17, and there's not a company out there that makes a 10 round for it, then that as a whole won't be brought in. So the number of firearms that are going to be available to the people in Oregon are also going to go down. Now, this isn't the first time they've tried to get something like Measure 114 through. It's failed every single time until now, so I'm just wondering if maybe it caught them off guard. Maybe they weren't expecting it to pass, and that's why they don't have a plan in place. That's why they don't have the infrastructure. There's no way for somebody to get a permit at this point. And it's amazing that there's no way for somebody to get a permit. The sheriffs are saying that, hey, we're going to need more people for this, or we're going to need more money for this, but we already have an effective date, being 30 days after it's certified. There shouldn't be an effective date until the process is absolutely settled. But to be honest with you, the law shouldn't exist to begin with, especially post-Bruen. Now, pre-Bruen, things were kind of left up in the air. The courts used the two-step process. The Ninth Circuit kind of weighed the states' rights against people's rights, and sometimes they upheld it for the states, or most of the time they upheld it for the states based on that two-step approach. But now we have Bruen, which says you can't use that two-step approach anymore. You have to use text, history, and tradition. You have to be able to look back in time and say that something like this had previously existed through the late 1700s, early 1800s, and you have to be able to point to that as precedent to say that this law is allowed to stand based on that precedent. And Bruen does not allow the two-step approach. Text, history, and tradition basically tells us that nothing like this has ever existed in the past, and so how can it stand up to today? So obviously it's totally unconstitutional just based on the Bruen decision and on the text of the Second Amendment, as we all know, but it has an effective date. An effective date with absolutely no plan on how to get there. So if you guys wanted to know what the dates were, what they expect of you, and so forth, there it is right there. I expect that unless a judge jumps in here and puts a stop to this, or a judge extends it, or just, puts an injunction on it, that people are going to be left in limbo without their rights in Oregon for who knows how long. So I wanted to make you guys aware of that. I knew it was going to turn into a debacle. I said it in the past. It's just almost based on a lot of the stuff that California did, and we all know how that turns out. So again, I wanted to give you guys that update, and I'll keep you updated as things change. Thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. You guys have a great day.